In every city, on every continent, the echoes of history meet the voices of today. From the streets of Johannesburg to the corners of Paris, from the vibrant communities of Brooklyn to the heart of Salvador, Brazil, the African diaspora has found its rhythm, its voice, and its moment. In 2025, the voices for justice are not only louder, they're finally being heard. The African diaspora is one of the most powerful and diverse global communities on Earth. Over 200 million people of African descent live outside the continent, shaping culture, politics, and economies across the globe. Their stories are connected not just by ancestry, but by a shared legacy of resilience, struggle, creativity, and a relentless pursuit of justice. These voices are no longer asking for a seat at the table, they're building their own. For centuries, Black communities around the world have faced systems of oppression, slavery, colonization, segregation, police brutality, and economic exclusion. But in this new era, the tide is turning. The digital age has accelerated awareness. Social media platforms have transformed into tools of activism. Live-streamed protests, viral videos, and shared calls for solidarity have connected individuals across oceans and languages. In 2025, the cry for justice doesn't stop at national borders, it reverberates globally. Movements like Black Lives Matter, #EndSARS, and campaigns for justice in Haiti, Congo, and Brazil have highlighted the interconnected nature of our struggles. These are not isolated incidents. They are symptoms of a global system that has undervalued Black lives for far too long. But the response has been overwhelming, powerful, and unified. The youth of the diaspora are organizing, educating, protesting, and reimagining what justice looks like. Injustice, in 2025, goes beyond courtrooms. It's about access to education, to clean water, to land ownership, to technology, to culture. It's about reclaiming history and rewriting narratives that have for too long been told by others. In communities across the globe, we see this shift taking shape. Afro-Colombian leaders are preserving cultural heritage while fighting for environmental protection. African-American youth are entering public office and rewriting laws. Caribbean activists are holding former colonial powers accountable for centuries of exploitation. Across the UK, France, and the Netherlands, Afro-Europeans are demanding an honest reckoning with their nation's colonial pasts. But justice also lives in joy, in celebration, and in culture. African music dominates global playlists, from Afrobeats to Amapiano, from hip-hop to dancehall. Black fashion designers from Lagos to London are leading global trends. Filmmakers across the diaspora are telling stories that span generations, stories once silenced, now amplified. This cultural explosion is not just entertainment, it is resistance, it is memory, it is pride. The unity we see in 2025 is perhaps the most powerful part of this moment. Language barriers are no longer limits. Platforms like YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram have created a shared space where Black voices speak to one another in real time. A young artist in Nairobi can collaborate with a dancer in Atlanta. A poet in Jamaica can spark dialogue with a historian in Ghana. The diaspora is forming its own networks, economic, cultural, and political. Pan-Africanism is no longer just a dream, it is becoming a practice. This is not to say the struggle is over, far from it. Many communities across the African diaspora continue to face systemic oppression and violence. In 2025, police brutality, racism, poverty, and political corruption still persist. But what has changed is the power of collective resistance and collective imagination. The demand is no longer for temporary change, it is for permanent transformation. Diaspora youth are leading the charge. They are coding apps to protect protesters, creating platforms to educate about African history, building Black-owned tech companies, and forming policy think tanks focused on reparations and equity. They are organizing international conferences, exchanging knowledge with elders, and building transnational movements rooted in shared identity and shared purpose. What we are witnessing is a renaissance, a resurgence of Pan-African spirit fused with digital power and visionary leadership. In education, schools across the diaspora are challenging colonial curricula. New institutions are being built that center African knowledge systems and indigenous practices. Museums are returning stolen artifacts. Families are rediscovering lost languages. Names once erased are being reclaimed. Black students are becoming scholars of their own history, not just subjects in someone else's version of it. Justice in 2025 also looks like healing. It means addressing the trauma passed down through generations. It means creating safe spaces for mental health, especially in communities where it's been taboo or inaccessible. Across the diaspora, therapists, artists, spiritual leaders, and community healers are integrating ancestral wisdom with modern tools to restore what has been broken. The future being built is one rooted in sovereignty. Diaspora communities are investing in agriculture, energy, fintech, education, and local economies. They are no longer waiting for global institutions to offer solutions. Instead, they are creating their own ecosystems. The global Black economy is expected to be worth trillions of dollars in the coming decade, and that power is beginning to be wielded in transformative ways. But even as we look ahead, we remember the past. We honor the ancestors who endured the unimaginable so that we could rise. We remember the freedom fighters, the educators, the storytellers, the mothers and fathers, the unknown names buried in unmarked graves, whose spirits still live in our struggles and in our successes. So in 2025, what does it mean when we say the voices for justice are being heard worldwide? It means we are not silenced. It means we are not forgotten. It means the world is listening, and more importantly, we are listening to each other. We are standing up, not just in defense, but in declaration, that we are worthy, that we are powerful, and that we are united. Whether you are in Lagos or London, Kingston or Kinshasa, Atlanta or Accra, you are part of this moment. A global movement born from pain but rooted in hope. A call for justice that knows no borders. We are the African Diaspora, and in 2025, our voices are no longer echoes in the background. They are the rhythm of change, the sound of resistance, and the song of liberation. The fight for justice in 2025 is multifaceted, spanning continents, generations, and sectors of society. It's a fight against centuries-old systems that still cast long shadows, systems of racial discrimination, economic disparity, and political exclusion. But this fight is no longer fragmented. Across the globe, from Lagos to London, from Johannesburg to Jamaica, the African diaspora is organizing with renewed strength, clarity, and unity. We see this in the streets, where protests demand accountability for police brutality and systemic violence. Movements like #EndSARS in Nigeria captured international attention as young Nigerians refused to be silenced in the face of oppression. Their courage inspired activists worldwide, proving that the African youth are fearless in demanding change. Similarly, Black Lives Matter, which began in the United States, continues to ripple outward, linking struggles across the Americas, Europe, and Africa. It is no longer just a hashtag, it is a global call to dismantle racism in every form. But the fight is also happening in courtrooms, parliaments, and international bodies. Diaspora leaders and lawyers are pushing for reparations, an acknowledgement and compensation for the historical injustices inflicted by slavery and colonialism. Countries like Barbados and Ghana have taken steps to initiate dialogues around reparations, urging former colonial powers to take responsibility. These efforts are gaining momentum, bringing together activists, scholars, and policymakers to craft solutions rooted in justice and equity. Beyond legal battles, economic justice is a major front. For too long, Black communities have been excluded from wealth-building opportunities and financial systems. Today, we see a powerful movement toward economic empowerment. Diaspora entrepreneurs are launching Black-owned businesses, fintech startups, and social enterprises that prioritize community wealth and sustainability. Through collective investment funds and cooperative models, they are rewriting the rules of economic participation. Education plays a crucial role in this fight. For generations, African history and contributions have been marginalized or erased in mainstream curricula around the world. In 2025, educators and activists are working tirelessly to reclaim these narratives. Schools and universities are revising textbooks, introducing African-centered curricula, and teaching languages and histories that connect diaspora youth to their roots. This reclaiming of knowledge is itself a form of justice, empowering new generations with the pride and awareness to challenge inequality. Environmental justice is also deeply intertwined with the African diaspora's fight for justice. Many Black communities, especially in Africa, the Caribbean, and parts of the Americas, face disproportionate impacts from climate change, pollution, and resource exploitation. From oil spills in the Niger Delta to rising sea levels threatening Caribbean islands, environmental degradation is both a symptom and cause of systemic injustice. Activists are demanding not only environmental protection, but also reparative actions to restore lands and livelihoods. Technology is another powerful tool in this struggle. In 2025, the African diaspora is using digital platforms not just for communication, but for organizing, education, and innovation. Apps that map police violence, platforms that amplify marginalized voices, and blockchain technologies for transparent governance are all part of this new digital justice toolkit. Young innovators are creating solutions tailored to their communities, ensuring technology serves liberation rather than oppression. Mental health is finally receiving overdue attention as well. The trauma from centuries of racial violence and discrimination has deeply affected communities across the diaspora. In 2025, healing is recognized as central to justice. Culturally sensitive mental health services, community healing circles, and the integration of traditional and modern practices are helping people reclaim wholeness and resilience. Healing allows the movement to sustain itself because justice is not only external but internal. Solidarity across the diaspora is stronger than ever. International conferences, virtual summits, and grassroots coalitions connect activists and leaders. This network is fostering shared strategies and mutual support, breaking down isolation and fragmentation. It's clear that local struggles are part of a global fight, and victory anywhere means victory everywhere. Yet the fight for justice is also deeply personal. It's about reclaiming dignity, identity, and humanity. It's about saying, we are here, we belong, our lives matter. Every story of resistance, whether it's a single mother organizing her community, a student marching for climate justice, or an artist telling untold stories, adds to this collective movement. These voices, once marginalized, are now amplified, echoing in halls of power and across social media feeds. In 2025, the African diaspora's fight for justice is no longer a whispered plea. It is a powerful roar heard worldwide. It is the heartbeat of a global movement demanding nothing less than freedom, equality, and respect. It is a declaration that the scars of the past will not define the future. The world is watching. The world is listening. And the African diaspora is ready to lead the way forward, united, unstoppable, and unapologetically determined to create a just world for all.